Alright, hello to anyone out there who may be watching this. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this, thank you for taking the time to click on the video. So last year I made a prediction video for the Game Awards 2016, and I had a lot of fun doing that. So for this year I also wanted to make a prediction video for the Game Awards 2017, which take place this Thursday, December 7th at 7:30 Central Time. You can watch the Game Awards on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch, Twitter. You can watch it on Steam, on your PS4, Xbox One. And although leading up to these award shows, they don't seem to be getting a ton of coverage. Um, Once the award show is actually going on, the viewership is definitely high enough for them to keep continuing the award show every year. But I just haven't seen like a ton of coverage for these award shows leading up to them. They're definitely not as serious as some of the video game conventions that take place, earlier throughout the year. They're a little more laid back and goofy, but there's going to be, in addition to the awards being given out, there's going to be musical performances and sneak peeks of upcoming games. And all in all, it's just an entertaining show to watch. So that's what really matters to me, and that's why I'm going to watch it again this year. I hope you do too. And yeah, that's going to be 7:30 Central Time on Thursday, December 7th. I am recording this video right now on Saturday, December 2nd, so we're just a few days away at the time I'm recording this. There are 24 jury-nominated awards this year, and those are the main ones I'm going to go through. I'm also going to mention one of the fan choice award, but the jury-nominated awards are the ones that matter more, in my opinion, and there's 24 of them. Last year there was only 18. How they got to 24 this year is because last year they had a category called Best Music / Sound Design, and this year they split that up into two different categories. So now it's Best Music / Score and Best Audio Design. And then similarly, last year they had a category called Best Mobile / Handheld Game. They've now split that into two separate categories. Best mobile game is one category, best handheld game is another category. So splitting those two awards now into four adds two more jury nominated awards this year, and I think that's good that they did that because it's more accurate to split those up accordingly. The other three, okay. Sorry, I said there were 24 jury nominated awards. There's actually 23. So they added two by splitting up the awards last year. The other three that they added for this year are Best Ongoing Game, Best Debut Indie Game, and Student Game Award. And last year when I did my prediction video, I was very ambitious and thought that I could get 15 out of the 18 jury nominated awards right, and I only ended up getting 6 out of the 18. So getting 1/3 of all jury nominated awards correct. So this year I'm trying to be a little bit more humble. I'm not going to be as ambitious. And since I hit 1/3 of the awards last year, and now there's 23 or 24 this year, I figure, okay, I'm going to go for at least 8. I'm going to try to hit 8 this year, which I don't think should be too hard. But, I mean, making my predictions this year was just as tough, if not tougher, than last year. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully I won't make a fool of myself again. And just like last year, I did not look at anyone else's prediction videos or read about anyone's predictions on social media or blogs or anything like that, because a couple YouTubers I follow have made prediction videos, but I wanted to keep my predictions for this video completely unbiased and original to myself. And then I'll probably go and watch those videos tonight to kind of compare and contrast my opinions with theirs. And I didn't even vote on anything on the website itself, which you could do. Just like last year, I will provide links in the description below for more information on the Game Awards, the website itself, and the Wikipedia page. In order to be eligible for nomination for an award, a candidate game must have had a commercial release date on or before November 27th this year, 2017. So they did a similar thing last year, which is why games that came out late last year, like Final Fantasy 15, The Last Guardian, Super Mario Run, those were games that came out in 2016, but they weren't eligible for the award show last year, and they're now eligible for this year. Similarly, a game that is coming out right around the time I'm recording this video is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And that's gonna, if it's a good enough game to get a nomination, it will be at the award show next year, even though it's coming out this year. There are a total of 102 games or people receiving a nomination, so a little interesting tidbit I found out. And one more thing I want to note before I get into the predictions is for the jury nominated awards, I believe fan voting only counts for 10% of the weights out of 100% in terms of who's going to be the winner of those awards. There's 5 or 6 fan voted awards. Those are all determined by voting online, but for the jury nominated awards, it's mostly determined through a jury, panel, committee, whatever word you want to use, of different video game outlets and influencers and stuff like that, and fan voting only counts for 10% in those categories. Okay, so I just wanted to get all that out of the way before I jump into my actual predictions, just kind of to intro the video. And now let's jump right into the first jury voted award, which is going to be announced at the end of the show, I would imagine, is the Game of the Year. So the nominees are Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Super Mario Odyssey, and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I am pretty confident that Legend of Zelda is going to win this one. Zelda and Mario have very high Metacritic scores, almost at 100. They're around 97, 98. And I know that game came out early this year when there weren't as many games coming out, but Breath of the Wild launched with the Switch, and for several months, there's a lot of podcasts and videos I watch on YouTube. People talked about this game so much for several months, and talking about, oh, this is probably going to be my game of the year at the end of the year. So, I mean, I think Horizon Zero Dawn has a slight chance to win just because it's a new IP from Guerrilla Games. Guerrilla Games is the developer for Horizon, and they've made the Killzone games in the past, so this was a new direction that they're taking with Horizon Zero Dawn. I think it has a slight chance, but I mean, like I said, I'm pretty confident Zelda's going to win this one. So Game of the Year, I think, is going to go to Zelda. The next award is Best Game Direction, which, according to the website itself, the description of the award is awarded to a game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. So it's kind of an award to a game, but also to the studio itself. So Best Game Direction, the nominees are Horizon Zero Dawn, which was developed by Guerrilla Games. You had Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, which was developed by Capcom. Super Mario Odyssey, that was developed by Nintendo. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which was developed by Nintendo. And Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, which was developed by Machine Games. I think based on the description of the award, I know Nintendo's getting nominated for 2 games here. I think Nintendo has to take it. And so that means, is it going to go to Mario Odyssey or is it going to go to Breath of the Wild? I think it's going to be Breath of the Wild. For the last 3 years at the Game Awards show, the game that won Game of the Year also won Best Game Direction. So I think they're going to continue that for this year. And that's why I think Zelda or Nintendo and Zelda are going to take Best Game Direction. So the next jury nominated award is for Best Narrative. This was a very tough one for me to choose. Just like last year, it was also very tough. Very tough. And the nominees are Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Horizon Zero Dawn, Nier Automata, What Remains of Edith Finch, and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. I was going back and forth. All of these games have a great storyline, so that's why it was hard to choose for this year. I was going back between Hellblade and Wolfenstein 2. I don't know if enough people played Hellblade to give it the best narrative, so I'm going to give it to Wolfenstein 2. I think that, I haven't heard anyone talk about like a crazy plot twist that happens in Wolfenstein 2 or anything like that, but just as a premise, World War II, alternate history, Nazis taking over. Just as a premise, I think Wolfenstein 2 is very, very strong story-wise, and the voice actor who plays the main character is getting nominated later for Best Performance, so the voice acting is very solid. I'm sure the characters are great. I'm going with Wolfenstein 2 for this one, but if any one of these 5 games wins, it's not going to surprise me just because this category for Best Narrative is so hard to choose between. But yeah, I'm going with Wolfenstein 2 here. Best Art Direction is the next category. The nominees are Cuphead, Destiny 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I think Cuphead is... I'm pretty confident Cuphead is going to win this one because art direction is what Cuphead is like known for. That's the main draw or focal point of that game. It's based on like a 1930s, 1940s cartoon animation style. It's kind of in black and white at certain parts of the game, and that's what makes it unique. In the same way that Inside got Best Art Direction last year, I think Cuphead is going to take it this year just for its uniqueness and kind of the stylistic direction it took. So Cuphead, I'm fairly confident it's going to win there. The next category is Best Score / Music. The nominees are Cuphead, Destiny 2, Nier Automata, Persona 5, Super Mario Odyssey, and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Up until last night, I had Legend of Zelda as the winner for this because the franchise of Zelda is very well known for its music. And also, I just want to say that out of all the jury nominated awards, as somebody who hasn't played a ton of games this year, or barely any games at all for that matter, this is like the hardest category for me to choose because music in video games is kind of underappreciated sometimes. So not playing really any of these games that are getting nominated, I didn't know who to go with. I just know Zelda as a franchise has very iconic and like powerful music to it. So I was gonna go with Zelda. However, I want to read this real quick. I saw this on Wikipedia last night. It says, in Breath of the Wild, there will be a different approach to music in that there will be no theme music for different locations in the game. Instead, the main sounds will be the natural ambience around the player, in addition to some minimalist piano music. So there's less music in this game than in other games in the series. That's why I up until last night, I had Zelda, but I changed my pick. I'm now going with Persona 5. Uh, the soundtrack for that game was released as a CD, and it sold very well in Japan. And that was my second pick right behind Zelda. So when I thought, okay, Zelda's not going to win, I went with Persona 5 instead. Super Mario Odyssey also might win Best Music because it has this very Broadway style. I think there's new themes in this game in terms of music as opposed to previous Mario games. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's the case. But yeah, I'm going with Persona 5 on this one. The next category is Best Audio Design. The nominees are Destiny 2, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, Resident Evil 7, Super Mario Odyssey, and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I think Legend of Zelda, or sorry, no, not Legend of Zelda. I think Resident Evil 7 is probably going to win this award. I'm fairly confident. Just because horror games, which is what Resident Evil 7 is, are very well known usually for their audio design because that's how you make the games creepy and eerie and suspenseful is by really putting time and effort into the audio design itself. So that's why I think Resident Evil 7 is going to take that one. The next category is Best Performance. The nominees are Ashley Birch as Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn. You have Brian Bloom as BJ Blazkowicz in Wolfenstein 2. Claudia Black as Chloe Fraser in Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Laura Bailey as Nadine Ross in Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. And Melina, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Melina Juergens, it's probably Juergens, as Senua in Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I really hope they don't give the award to Claudia Black or Laura Bailey. I don't have anything against either of them, but Nolan North won the award last year for Uncharted 4. And, I mean, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is not Uncharted 4. And I think they should avoid giving an award again for Uncharted. I think they should give the award to a lesser-known actor or actress who has really performed their ass off this year. And I think that's to Melina Juergens as Senua. Just because of what she did for that character and how well the character is portrayed in that game. The winner of that award is not just for voice acting, it's also for performance, meaning mocap, motion capture. And I think she's going to take that award. I mean, I want her to, so that's why I really believe Melina Juergens should win that award. The next jury-nominated award is Games for Impact. The nominees are Bury Me, My Love, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Life is Strange Before the Storm, Night in the Woods, Please Knock on My Door, and What Remains of Edith Finch. Obviously, at least half of these games I don't really know much about. The two that I kind of knew about were Hellblade and Life is Strange. Games for Impact is an award that's given to a game that has like a profound social meaning or message to it that goes beyond, just the game itself. I'm going to give it to Hellblade on this one because that game is kind of a metaphor for mental illness because the main character has resemblances of schizophrenia, and it's kind of told in a metaphoric way through the story. So, I think for that alone, I think Hellblade should win that one. Life is Strange, the main character in that game, I think, is a lesbian. So the message behind that game is equality, regardless of your sexual orientation or whatever. But Life is Strange was a game that came out before, so this is a prequel to that game. I think it has less of an impact because it's a prequel as opposed to the original game itself. Night in the Woods is a little indie game that kind of talks about, or is kind of metaphoric for like poverty and classism and like again like classism issues that exist throughout the real world. So that's kind of interesting, but all in all, I think Hellblade is still going to win this one for its metaphoric take on like mental illness and schizophrenia and stuff. The next game award is one that they added for this year that did not exist before. It's for Best Ongoing Game, which basically means a game that has been supported by the developer, that's been out for a while, and has kind of a games as a service mentality, and has received a lot of DLC and expansion packs and stuff like that. So the nominees for Best Ongoing Game are Destiny 2, Grand Theft Auto Online, Overwatch, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Rainbow Six Siege, and Warframe. Don't really know what Warframe is. I don't know why that was nominated. Destiny 2 is not going to win because that game just came out 3 months ago. I think that's too soon. For Best Ongoing Game, especially when you look at some of these other nominees, it's a game that has to have been out for like a while, that you're kind of surprised still has a buzz to it and stuff, which is a perfect example for the next game that's getting nominated, which is Grand Theft Auto Online. Grand Theft Auto Online launched 4 years ago, right around the time the game came out for PS3 and Xbox 360. It came out a year later in 2014 for PS4, Xbox One. They've added a lot of content over the years, but it hasn't always been received the best in terms of like Metacritic scores and stuff. So Grand Theft Auto Online has, I think, a good chance of winning, but for my pick, it's not going to take it. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is a game that's been big this year, but the game itself, the full version of that game, has not come out yet. We'll see if it comes out at the end of this month. It might not come out till next year. So I don't think PUBG is going to win. Rainbow Six Siege is a game that's been out for 2 years now. It came out at the end of 2015, and I know that game has a big streaming community. A lot of people play it online on Twitch and stuff, and on YouTube, of course. But I think Overwatch, which is the other game that's nominated for this award, is going to take it. Overwatch came out a year and a half ago. It won Game of the Year last year. It has a huge esports scene. It continuously receives updates. So not only is it getting a lot of support, but it's also a high-quality game. Again, came out a year and a half ago. So, I mean, Best Ongoing Game, I think, is Overwatch. The next jury-nominated award is Best Independent Game. The nominees are Cuphead, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Night in the Woods, Pyre, and What Remains of Edith Finch. Now, I've talked about Hellblade quite a bit so far, so you might be thinking I'm going to give it to Hellblade, but there's a lot of strong parts of Hellblade, the narrative, the social kind of metaphoric meaning behind it, the performances by Melina Juergens. There's a lot of good things to like about Senua's Sacrifice, but as an overall game, I don't know if it's going to win because it only has an 82 score on Metacritic, which is pretty decent, but there's a couple games here that have a higher Metacritic score. Cuphead, which I mentioned earlier, is having this very stylistic art, has like an 89 on Metacritic. I think that could take it. For my pick, I'm going to choose What Remains of Edith Finch, which is another game that has like an 89 on Metacritic, and it has a very strong story to it. You know, it got nominated for Best Narrative, so I think What Remains of Edith Finch is going to take this one. It's either that or Cuphead, in my opinion, but What Remains of Edith Finch, I think, will win Best Independent Game. The next category is Best Mobile Game. The nominees are Fire Emblem Heroes, Hidden Folks, Monument Valley 2, Old Man's Journey, and Super Mario Run. For me, I know Fire Emblem is a popular franchise, but that game itself wasn't very good, apparently. I mean, not good enough to win. I guess it was decent. Hidden Folks and Old Man's Journey I've never heard of. Monument Valley 2 has a good shot at winning. That came out in the middle of this year, I believe in the summer. And Monument Valley 1 sold very well on mobile. Monument Valley 2 has like an 85 Metacritic score. I think that one might win. I'm going to go with Super Mario Run, though, just because of the popularity of the Mario franchise. Super Mario Run came out at the end of last year, I think for iOS, and then came out on Android this year. And, I mean, that only has like a 77, I think, on Metacritic. So Monument Valley 2 is a higher Metacritic score, but I think Super Mario Run is going to take it for the popularity factor and just the popularity of the franchise, and then also Super Mario Run had a lot of downloads too, so a lot of people played it. The next jury-nominated award is Best Handheld Game. The nominees are Ever Oasis, Fire Emblem Echoes: Shadows of Valentia, Metroid: Samus Returns, Monster Hunter Stories, and Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. So those are the 5 nominees for Best Handheld Game. I think Metroid: Samus Returns is going to take it. That's a very appropriate title for that game because I think the last game that came out in the Metroid series didn't even have Metroid in it. I think that was like Federation Force or something like that, which people were kind of disappointed in. And this is a return to form for Metroid and the franchise. It has the highest Metacritic score out of any of the nominees, so I think Metroid: Samus Returns is going to take it. The next jury-nominated award is Best VR/AR Game. VR stands for virtual reality. AR, I think, stands for augmented reality. The nominees are Farpoint: Lone Echo, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Star Trek Bridge Crew, and Superhot VR. Now, Lone Echo I've never heard of. Farpoint I know was a game that got a lot of, or some, maybe not a lot, some coverage in like on YouTube videos and stuff like that. I've seen many people playing that game. Metacritic score is not that high though, so I'm gonna pass on that. Superhot VR I think is pretty good from what I've heard, but not strong enough to win this award. So I think it comes down to Resident Evil 7 or Star Trek Bridge Crew. Star Trek Bridge Crew is a game that without VR might not be that fun at all. It has only, I think, like a 74 on Metacritic, and it's a game that has, you know, it's a fun game to play with friends, but it does have technical issues. I do think it encompasses what VR is very well, but Resident Evil 7 is just a superior game. Again, you can play through Resident Evil 7 without VR, but Resident Evil 7, which came out at the beginning of this year, it was the first game to come out for VR that was like a fully fledged, in-depth experience that's, you know, more than like 5 hours long. And again, you can play that game without VR. So for this award, Star Trek might win, but I'm going to give it to Resident Evil because it's the better game than Star Trek. And, you know, I just think you could experience it in VR if you want. You don't have to, but I think that's, you know, good enough quality to win the award there. The next jury-nominated award is Best Action Game. The nominees are Cuphead, which isn't really an action game, Destiny 2, which is a shooter, Nioh, which out of all the games that are getting nominated here, Nioh is like the only one that's like a true action game and not a shooter or another category. The other two nominees are Prey and Wolfenstein 2. I think Nioh's going to win this. Nioh is a game that's like Dark Souls and Bloodborne in that it's a hack and slash game with a pretty high difficulty. It takes place kind of in a samurai type of setting and aesthetics. So I think Nioh is going to win this one. It's a PS4 exclusive, but it has a very high Metacritic score, and for the definition of this category, best action game, I think Nioh's got to take it. So I'm choosing Nioh for that one. The next category is best action adventure. So the nominees are Assassin's Creed Origins, Horizon Zero Dawn, Super Mario Odyssey, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy. I think now technically Legend of Zelda should win this one because it is a true action adventure game. Super Mario Odyssey is more of a platformer. That's not an action adventure game. But I think Horizon Zero Dawn is actually going to win this one. Again, Horizon Zero Dawn, very strong game. It was actually compared to Legend of Zelda when that game came out because they both came out earlier this year. Horizon Zero Dawn came out in February. Zelda came out in March. They're kind of these exploration, adventurous, kind of open world type of games. So they were compared heavily. And Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, is just a very strong choice for action adventure. Legend of Zelda should technically take it, but Zelda's already getting Game of the Year and Best Game Direction, which are two really huge awards. To give it Best Action Adventure, I think might be doing the other games that are not Zelda a disjustice. So Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, is going to take that one. The next jury-nominated award is Best RPG. The nominees are Divinity Original Sin 2, Final Fantasy 15, Nier Automata, Persona 5, and South Park: The Fractured But Whole. South Park is an RPG. It's kind of funny going up against these like hardcore Japanese RPGs that South Park is getting nominated, but it is receiving that recognition there, and it is technically an RPG. Final Fantasy 15 has a chance at winning this, but that game came out last year. I don't think a lot of people are still caring about that game. I know it was big when it came out, but again, came out at the end of last year. And I think overall Persona 5 is just the better game in terms of being a true JRPG. And that game is huge in Japan, Persona 5 is, and it's a very niche game, but, that game has a very high Metacritic score. It got, it has a pretty big buzz over here in America, especially for PS4 owners because it is an exclusive. So I think Persona 5 is going to win Best RPG. The next jury-nominated award is Best Fighting Game. The nominees are ARMS, Injustice 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Nidhogg 2, and Tekken 7. I think Injustice 2 is going to win this one. It has the highest Metacritic score, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite might win because I remember people talking about that game more than Injustice 2, and it has more kind of casual appeal to it, I think, just because of the Marvel characters, the licenses in that game. You have Marvel versus Capcom, so it's crossing franchises together. It has more popularity to it, but Injustice 2 has a very high Metacritic score. Marvel vs. Capcom also has not that great of a Metacritic score. I think it's like in the mid 70s, whereas Injustice 2 is in the mid to high 80s. ARMS has a chance because it's like different. It's a new IP, but that's a very casual fighting game. It has a little more depth to it than like Wii Boxing, but ARMS is an exclusive for the Switch. I think it's a neat idea, but to win Best Fighting Game, I don't think ARMS is going to take that. So it's going to go to Injustice 2, I think. Tekken 7 is like a stale franchise that not a lot of people really care about anymore. And Nidhogg 2 is a very small scale kind of fighting game that I don't think a ton of people have played. So Injustice 2 I think is going to win Best Fighting Game. The next jury nominated award is Best Family Game. The nominees are Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Sonic Mania, Splatoon 2, and Super Mario Odyssey. So 3 out of 5 of these nominees are related to the Mario franchise or have Mario in the title. I think Mario plus Rabbids is a decent game, has an 85 Metacritic score, but that's not really like a family game. That's kind of more strategic for people who like XCOM. So I don't think family, I don't think for Best Family Game, the Rabbids Mario game is going to take it. I think it's a toss-up between Mario Kart 8 and Super Mario Odyssey. Mario Kart 8, that originally came out on the Wii U, won Best Family Game 3 years ago in 2014. And I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is basically Mario Kart 8 with like all the DLC, I think, and like, the most superior version of that game, I think it's going to win Best Family Game. Super Mario Odyssey, again, a 97, 98 Metacritic score. You can play this co-op with someone else, but I just think Mario Kart 8 fits the definition of family game better. So if Super Mario Odyssey does win, I wouldn't be surprised, especially because Mario's not really winning. Super Mario Odyssey is not really winning in many other categories, I don't think, because it's going up against Zelda and so many things. So I could see them giving a nod to Mario Odyssey here, but I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is going to take it. The next category is Best Strategy Game. And the nominees are Halo Wars 2, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Total War Warhammer 2, Tooth and Tail, and XCOM 2: War of the Chosen. XCOM 2 was a game that came out last year and got nominated for Best Strategy Game, and I thought it was going to win, but it lost to Civilization, I think 5 was the one. Was it Civilization 5 or Civilization 6? Either way, that was what won last year, but XCOM 2 I think should have won last year. So I think War of the Chosen, which is a DLC for this year, is probably going to win that one. It has a pretty high Metacritic score, around like 89, just like the original XCOM 2 did. Mario plus Rabbids might have a chance because it is a unique idea, and that game is basically XCOM with Mario IP. But I don't think enough people take that game seriously, like hardcore strategy players, to really vote for Mario plus Rabbids. So, it has a chance, but I don't think Mario plus Rabbids is going to win. Halo Wars 2, from what I heard, was kind of a disappointment. So, yeah, I think XCOM 2 War of the Chosen is going to win that one. And, okay, so I know this video is going on long, but I like talking about this stuff, and there's a lot of jury nominated awards, more than last year, so there's just a few left before I end the video. The next jury nominated award is Best Sports/Racing Game. The nominees are FIFA 18, Forza Motorsport 7, Gran Turismo Sport, NBA 2K18, Pro Evolution Soccer 2018, and Project Cars 2. In 2014, 2015, and 2016, a racing game won the award each of these years. So the sports games aren't really getting much love at these award shows. But I mean, in 2014, you had Mario Kart 8. 2015 was Rocket League. Last year was Forza Horizon. So I think Forza Motorsport 7 might have a shot here. I'm going to go against the grain and say a sports game is going to win this year, and I think it's going to be FIFA 18, which is like the most played sports game around the world. Last year they added a story mode called like The Journey for the first time to a FIFA game, and I think that kind of drew in more people. It adds more density to the game. So I think FIFA 18 has a chance of winning this year. But all in all, I mean, any of these games could take the award. This is a category that I know not a lot of people care about, but I'm going to give it to FIFA 18. The next jury-nominated award is Best Multiplayer. The category or the nominees are Call of Duty World War II, Destiny 2, Fortnite, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Players Unknown Battlegrounds, and Splatoon 2. I think Players Unknown Battlegrounds is going to take this one. Again, the game really hasn't come out yet officially. It's still in early access, but you know, this game's getting nominated for the Game of the Year. It's, you know, it should be taken seriously even if the full game hasn't come out yet. And this is a multiplayer only game. I know Destiny 2 is as well. I think Destiny 2 is only multiplayer. But Players Unknown Battlegrounds, you know, Destiny 2 is just kind of more of a continuation of Destiny 1. Whereas Players Unknown Battlegrounds is like pretty unique, I think. And that game has such a huge buzz this year, PUBG does. So I think PUBG is going to win Best Multiplayer. The next jury-nominated award is Student Game Award, which I'll just run through really fast. The titles of the games are Falling Sky, From Light, Hollowed, Impulsion, Level Squared, and Meaning. I don't really know anything about these games. None of them really had a Wikipedia page. I'm going with the game called Meaning because it is the only one of the 6 games listed that says it was made by one guy. For one guy to make a game and to have it be recognized by the award show is very impressive to me. So I'm going to give it to Meaning for that award, for Student Game Award. The last jury-nominated award, and there is a little bit of inconsistency here. The website itself, the Game Awards website itself, says Best Debut Indie Game is entirely fan voting, so that might be a fan-nominated award. Wikipedia says it's a jury-nominated award. I'm going to trust the actual website of the award show and say it's probably a fan-voted award, not jury-nominated. But I will say I think Cuphead is going to win that one. The other nominees are Golf Story, Hollow Knight, Mr. Shifty, and Slime Rancher. I think Cuphead's going to win that one. So that is all of the jury-nominated awards. I want to bring up one fan choice award before I end the video. It's for Most Anticipated Game. That was a fan choice award last year, and I talked about it in my prediction video last year. And once I read you these nominees, you'll see kind of how anticipated these games are and how hard it is to choose a winner. So the nominees for Most Anticipated Game are God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, Red Dead Redemption 2, and The Last of Us Part 2. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to take this one. It's just a gut feeling. It was nominated for Most Anticipated Game last year. I think it's going to take it this year. I think it's the only one of these games that is not an exclusive, because I think God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us Part 2 are all PlayStation exclusives. I think Monster Hunter World is just a Nintendo exclusive. So Red Dead Redemption 2 has the most broad appeal, and I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is just going to take that one. So that is those are my predictions for the 23 jury nominated awards and the 1 or 2 fan nominated awards. And that's basically it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very, very long video. I think it's the longest one I've ever made. And let me know in the comments below who you think is going to win some of these awards, who you voted for, and I hope you tune into the award show on Thursday, December 7th, because I will be. It should be a very entertaining show. So, again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see... Wait, no. It's been so long since I posted a video, I almost forgot to do this. I hope everyone out there is doing well. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great month. Have a great year. Have a great life. Enjoy video games. 2017 was a great year for video games. And, yep, that's basically it. Take care, everyone. I hope to see whoever may be watching this in the next video. Don't know what the next video is, but... yeah, okay, I'm rambling too much. Take care.